Alright, so here is the updated sprue tree. I added a lot more vents and stuff, connected a few more things, and overall I think it's about as good as it's gonna get. Seems pretty solid. Now we gotta tape up this bad boy, so that way when we pour in the plaster it doesn't just go out all the holes. So I got a little bit of clearance around all the way, maybe like a ½ inch or so. I'm not sure how much you're really supposed to have, so I'm hoping that's good enough. I mean, they're pretty small parts, so I can't see it being too bad, except for maybe the top here, like the Hagrid, maybe a little close, but should be fine. I mean, especially if we pour inside of this while it's inside a stainless steel container. Should be pretty solid, but let's get the investment weighed out. Now we have a short time frame, so I'm gonna mix this together, nice and smooth, pour it in, shut back the air out, and hopefully we're good to go. I'm gonna offset the flask just a little bit so the vacuum isn't like directly above it. It seems too watery. I'm gonna add some more plaster and sand actually, maybe ½ pound each. Man, that still seems really liquidy. I'm gonna try doing ½ pound each. Yeah, it seems a bit better. Let's try the shot glass. So it looks like it's sealed pretty good. So that's nice. The tape kind of covered it all the way around. A little bit of something on the other side. It's kind of offset a little bit. It's not very level. Another piece of cardboard. There. Okay, it's all done. It's all hardened. So now we got to get it ready for the kiln. I added some wire on here just to help me lift it up and whatnot. Just because the plaster went basically all the way to the bottom of these bars, which were supposed to help me lift it up, but I don't know, too full, so I'm gonna use this wire. But we gotta first take off the rubber gasket down here. So that's what we're gonna be pouring into, and I have a bunch of the vents and stuff right there, you can see. So I'm gonna first kind of, hit it with the torch just to melt some of it out so the kiln doesn't have to work so hard. And I'm gonna do that while I'm preheating the kiln. I gotta be careful because I don't want to heat it up too much and start having it crack, because obviously a propane torch is a lot hotter than what the kiln is gonna be starting off at. All right, I'm gonna try to take the flask out of the kiln and use my air compressor and try to spray out all of the residual ash and stuff that's on the inside. I'm gonna try to pick them up with these and see if I can. If not, I got a couple other things. Yeah, so the wire's pretty strong. Oh, I gotta turn it over somehow. Okay. Okay, I think we can melt the metal now. So let's put her back in, get her up to temperature, and then start melting. All right, so since this mold's going to be a little bit smaller, I want to try to melt up some of this flashing and stuff just to kind of get it out of the way, you know, get it out of my bucket. I am going to use a full ingot, but I also want to try to stuff in a bunch of this other crap. You got to be careful too, because this aluminum bronze, like this, especially the splashes and the flashing and whatnot, is very, very sharp and pointy. We'll probably have to add some more flashing as we go on, but I'll just leave the bar out for now. It's just about time to pour. So as soon as it's ready, we gotta scrape off all the slag on the top and all the dross. Then we gotta take our mold out of the kiln, set it up, and then take it out and pour. And if we have to do any last minute slag scraping, then we'll do that after we take it out. All right, well that was a successful pour. Even looks like some of the metal went up one of the vent lines. I'm kind of concerned that they didn't go up the other ones. Hopefully I was able to blow out all the dust and stuff. I can see it almost up this one. Yeah, I can see it inside the vent lines, but for some reason it didn't go all the way up. But that's not really important, just as long as I guess I can see it inside. That means that it actually went through the part and got to the other side, so that's good. It's gonna take a long ass time to cool down though, so I'll be back in like half an hour. All right, I think we're ready to quench it and see what's inside. See our prize. So I gotta grab it, we'll put it in there and shake it around a bit, and it'll help release that investment plaster away from the bronze, so that way it can come out better and quicker. can't believe how long this is taking. Try not to melt the bucket, but it's like the exact same height. There we go. Some of this stuff might still be hot inside the plaster, so I gotta be really careful. Wow, looks like the Haggard turned out great. Even his staff came out. That's crazy. We got a Harry. The second Harry mostly turned out, has some imperfections. The second Hagrid definitely has some holes. The one Dobby, we didn't get any of the ears. The other Dobby, we didn't get the arms or legs. Those ones I'm not really surprised by because those ones were very tiny. I don't know, yeah, that other Hagrid, I don't know if we can clean them up. The Dobbies didn't really turn out. They're so small. I need vacuum casting for the Dobbies, that's what I need. I'm so glad the Hagrid turned out though, because that's my wife's favorite character, and that's the whole reason I'm doing this is for her birthday. Look at that little guy. You can see the other Hagrid. It's kind of got some pitting and stuff. I don't know if he turned out. There's the one Harry. He looks pretty good. And then the other Harry kind of has some pitting on the hair. But we still might be able to make him work. I don't know. I gotta check the face and stuff. But you can see the Dobbies at the bottom here. Like he's missing all his arms and legs. And this one is missing his ears. No ears. His arms and legs turn out though. It's like, man, if we could have just swapped those two, would have been perfect. But let's go get it cleaned up. All right, so here's what we got. So the Hagrid turned out amazing. Basically perfect, I think. I'm sure there's some imperfections somewhere, you know, like there's a little bit pitting right there at the bottom of the cloak. But like, look at the hair. The hair detail turned out amazing. The staff turned out. Like everything on him is pretty freaking amazing. And then the other Harry. The Harry turned out pretty good, the first one. It didn't get his glasses, but I mean, those were super small. And it did actually get part of the wand, but it kind of broke off as I was taking it apart because I didn't realize it. It kind of looks like a sprue or a vent or something when you look at it. So I'm trying to figure out if there's some way I can like JB weld it on to his hand or something. I don't know. I got to figure that out. But the glasses aren't a big deal because I could always just like paint those on or something because he's got like a flat face. But everything else on him turned out pretty great. Yeah, so unfortunately 4 of the little ones didn't turn out, but we did get 2 of the bigger ones, and I'm really, really happy that we got this one because, I mean, this was the main reason I wanted to do that. So that's awesome. I can't wait to get this guy cleaned up. And then I got some more stuff from Harry Potter I'm going to do too, like Hedwig. First thing is I got to get that ready to go, covered in plaster and stuff, ready for tomorrow to start cooking in the kiln. All right, here is Hedwig, all sprued up and vented. I think I got most of the good areas. I did like the eyebrows and the beaks, a bunch of the wings, the base, and I try to connect all the vents together. I think it's pretty good. So let's put our flask on, tape it up, and pour in some investment. Okay, so last time we did 7.5 pounds of the plaster sand mixture and then 5 pounds of water, and that was way too watery. So this time I'm going to do probably 7.5 pounds of the mixture again, but 2.5 pounds of the water. So let's go ahead and try to get that mixed up. All right, well, the mold's all dry. So now we just got to preheat the kiln and then get her cooking. So this will be like an all day thing. We'll probably be firing it around the same time as we did the other one, probably around like 7:30-ish or something. So it's gonna take all day, but luckily for you guys, you don't get to watch all that. Little piece of cardboard to prevent the crucible from sticking to the fire brick. Now let's melt some aluminum bronze. Holy brick. Ouch. Hot. Ouch. Wow, I think it turned out. Hold on. This is amazing. I'm very impatient. I think it turned out perfect. Hedwig the Owl. It feels solid, but I don't know if that's just because the solid feeder or the sprue at the bottom and all the vent lines and stuff and the base, but it actually feels like solid. And it feels like top heavy too, like all the weight is in the owl. So maybe I didn't get as much investment in there as I thought I did. Look how awesome this guy turned out. Do a little 360 for you. So you can obviously see there's a lot of flashing that we need to take off. The flashing is from cracking inside the mold. This is pretty normal from what I have seen as far as the plaster molds in the kiln go. You're pretty much going to guarantee to have at least a little bit of flashing. And I would say this is not that bad for just using some cheap plaster of Paris and sand. Like, this is phenomenal, I think. Way better than spending like $150 on a 40-pound box of other investment. The plaster of Paris and the sand mixture, you know, that's probably like 10 bucks. This is another one for the wife's birthday present. So this is Hedwig from Harry Potter. Something she can keep like next to her bookshelf, you know, just for more aesthetic. Okay, time for the fun part. Okay, here is all three of them done. So the headwig is definitely my favorite. I think just doing animals in general are pretty cool. Plus an owl looks pretty nice, especially as a statue. And then Hagrid. Love the eyes and the beard. Turned out really good too. And I'm amazed that the staff turned out so tiny. Harry. Sadly, the glasses didn't turn out because those were incredibly small, and his staff broke off, or his wand broke off when I was taking that apart, so I had to glue that back on. But overall, he turned out really good too. I think surface-wise, he turned out the best. Very smooth, but I also think it's because it's the thinnest and the smallest piece. Whereas Hedwig, the owl, and Hagrid obviously were a bit thicker. I mean, this is a solid statue. You can see down here some of it was hollowed out in the base, but the rest of it is solid. I need to get some more wire wheels so I can get inside some of these smaller crevices. One thing I'm noticing is that the plaster is very difficult to get out, especially in any like cracks and crevices, and it'd be nice if I had a sandblaster or something. A sandblaster would be awesome. Maybe that'll be my next investment. But let me know what you guys think about all three of these. Which one's your favorite? Which book or movie is your favorite as well? I have never read the books, but I like the movies a lot. And my wife has read all the books and watched the movies, and she is a huge fan, obviously, since I'm doing this for her birthday and for Mother's Day. You can hear the race cars in the background up the hill. But make sure you guys leave a comment, subscribe to the channel if you want to watch more of this stuff, and like the video. Thanks guys, and I'll see you in the next one.